All right, Brian is cleaning the floors and then kitchen things. Other Brian is still installing floors. And then we've got a room full of boxes. So I'm gonna start digging through these and figuring out what is what. Yeah, you're other Brian, sorry. You came in number 2, so you're other Brian and that's Brian. The joys of having 2 employees with the same name. We'll figure it out. We have...
You have 3 employees, 2 of them have the same name.
Yeah, I know, it's a pain. We have my bench and stuff stuck in here until we get into trim mode, so it's out of our way, because OB, or other Brian, is gonna work this half of the room now. So original Brian, which that doesn't even work because that's OB too. So I can't even do original Brian and other Brian because they're both OBs. Him and I are gonna get started on the kitchen here. So we will see how she goes. All right, so we're getting ready to go and I'm setting up the laser and the other tripod for the GoPro, and then Brian is unboxing all of the cabinets, which is gonna take us a minute anyway. And then we will start with the uppers, then the lowers, then the island, and then that's all the boxes set. So over here in the corner, I made a small little tick mark, and that is at the bottom of our cabinets. So we have the laser set up. So 54 inches off the floor is the bottom of our cabinets all the way around. So we can use that when we start setting them, and then we'll use the 2-footer to plumb them up. Life is good. All right, so a quick little chat about how we find this location for the outlets. So this has a finished skin on it, so this one is flush. This cabinet does not, so it has a 1/4-inch lip. So when we pull our measurement from here over, we have to subtract that 1/4-inch that, you know, the face frames sit out a 1/4-inch further than the side panel does. So this was 16.5, so we measured 16.25 on the cabinet, 18.25, and then just use the level quick, make a little line at the top, and then measure down so that we can pull this outlet inside once the cabinet is up. So basically what that looks like on here now is probably like a week or so. Pull 16.25, 18.25, and then down we've got our 7 and 11.75. So that is how we do that. All right, so that was the first initial time lapse. I think I butted in only once to talk about the outlets, and now I'm going to talk about the process and how we got the first couple of upper cabinets set. So when we built the house, we put a lower block in at 54 inches that goes all the way around the kitchen area, and then we also put a 2x6 up at the top under the bottom plate, or the top plates, to go all the way around. So that makes screwing the cabinets off really easy. What I do is I then just measure and mark 3 equally spaced screws across the bigger cabinets, 2 on smaller cabinets, use your judgment. And these 3 hit the blocking on the lower, and then the 3 at the top hit the blocking on the upper. I find that a lot easier. Obviously, in a remodel situation where we're not taking out drywall, we'll go through, we'll find our studs with a stud finder, and then we'll do math and we'll put our screws where they need to be so that they land into the studs. You probably saw in the time lapse, the corner cabinet came down and then it went back up again. This wall is just a smidge out of square. I don't know exactly how it happened. Framing got rough at different times out here, so it is what it is. But we shimmed that so it was equally off of the wall on either side. And then by the time our first set of cabinets go on either way, we're back in action. We talked about that already. We had Sparky move it up because it was in the wrong location, so he moved that up. I think that's more set up for like a vent hood, not a microwave. So that is in the right location now. The only thing we have left to do on this side is just to tie this face frame, but I need to get some smaller screws because 2.5-inch screws would stick out a little bit. So that's where we're at. Brian is gonna get our lowers out, and we are going to put our Lazy Susan, a 12-inch cabinet, our 30-inch spacing for our stove microwave combo, and then another 24 here. The fridge goes there with a nice end panel to finish off the kitchen. The other thing I wanted to talk about was why we went with a 39-inch cabinet over a 42. And we have an 8-foot sidewall here with a vaulted ceiling. So by getting a 39-inch upper instead of a 42-inch upper, that keeps us about 3 inches off of the top. And then these are all a 0 overlay door. So that means that the door comes basically all the way out to the end. So what I do is I put a piece of 1x up along the top, and then I fasten my crown molding to that, and I got a 2.5-inch crown molding. So our crown molding will finish a 1/2 inch underneath the ceiling line crease, which will give this a very, very crisp and clean look, so that we don't have to, you know, envision trying to cut that long miter of a 2.5 slope. You know, it's kind of challenging with a 42-inch upper. So going with a 39 gives it a really nice clean look when it's all said and done. Like I said, Brian's digging our cabinets out, so I will put us back into time-lapse mode, and we will go ahead and we will set our lower cabinets on this side, and then we will do our lower cabinets on this side so that we can set our pantry cabinet and put in our last upper tight to the pantry cabinet. What do you think, Brian?
Oh, it's looking good.
Minty. All right, so the next one is gonna be a little bit tricky because we have 2 cuts to make in the bottom, we have 4 cuts to make in the back, and we have 1 cut to make in the toe kick. So gonna be a little bit of a trick, but basically the same principles that applied up there, we will do down here. So for these ones, because they don't have any finished ends, whenever I bump and take my measurement, I will be subtracting a 1/2 inch because we have a 1/4 inch here and a 1/4 inch on the next cabinet. So when we do that, we will work off of a 1/2 inch less, and then I will use my laser line up top to measure down to each of these. I do have a hole saw with me, which should help with the plumbing, and then we will do a jig for that, spade bit for those, and a jig for the front. So this one will be a little tricky, but we'll get her done. All right, so we're just getting ready to start this run of cabinets, and we ran into a little bit of a hiccup. So we've got the 39-inch sink base that goes here that I was talking about with all of the holes in it. And then we've got a space for the dishwasher, and then we've got 2 more cabinets and a little desk unit that sits here. The issue that we're running into right now is that this heat register that we have here lands on the end of a cabinet. So basically, like somewhere in here this is cabinets, and this is open. So we're gonna have to break out the track saw and cut this piece out and then do a patch in here to get enough of a piece of wood back to where we're under the cabinets again. And then I'm gonna have the HVAC guy move this over one bay and put it back against the wall over here where it can come up under the desk instead. So a little bit of a pain in the butt, but this is the stuff that happens. I would rather find it now when it's easy to cut this out than when we have all these cabinets in and then we have to take cabinets back out. So always double check before you start screwing stuff to the wall. Right, Brian?
Right.
Good work. We'll make it right. All right, back to the time lapse. All right, so I am at the end of day one and we are pretty darn close. So I want to set the last, sorry, the cord is in the way, she is charging. I want to set the last upper, which goes above this cabinet. There's a pantry cabinet that goes next to it, but I will set the pantry cabinet first. Unfortunately, it is huge and a little bit more than I can handle with the busted knee and no dolly here. So we will set that first thing in the morning, and then we will set the last upper cabinet, and then we have the small desk unit. This is a little desk that sits on the other side of the pantry where those two lower outlets are, is where that guy goes so that you can plug a computer in. And then we've got to set the island, and then we will go through and put all of our doors and drawers on and trim it all out. So that'll all be coming up in the next part of the video here. All right, so we have most of the boxes hung. The next step is going to be to do the island. So with the island, which is under these couple pieces, what I'm going to end up doing is I'm going to set the laser up to run across these three pendants and then to also split it. And that will give me my center point on the floor. And then I'm going to work in either direction, front and back, so that I can make sure that when the three pendant lights hang down, they're hanging dead center over the island in both directions. So that's going to be kind of the first step. Then I'll figure out where my runners need to go. I'll put my runners down on the floor. We'll get the island cabinets out here, and then we'll get them set. All right, so I was on the phone and I forgot to set up the GoPro, but Brian got the cabinets laid out and then I helped him finish so that we would be under our 3 lights. We have everything taped off on the floor. We're going to take a couple 2x4 scraps, plop those down at either end so that they will be inside of the cabinet. And then we'll set the cabinets back on top. We'll anchor through the side of the cabinet into the 2x4. And then we'll face frame the cabinets together, screw the backs together, and then the island will be stout. Alright guys, so that's going to wrap it up for this video. In the next series of videos, we will talk about installing all of the cabinet hardware in the crown molding. Pretty simple process from here on out. We just put the doors and drawers back in. All of these hinges are also 3-way adjustable, so take a minute to get everything close, but at the very end of the project, we'll go through and fine-tune everything. We'll see you guys in the next video. Thanks for watching.